greatest moment in sim racing I've ever had.
Ty Higginbottom is your 5th annual GTR 250 champion. The 17 will win 2 weeks in a row. Rookie Jordan Kalinian, first career win in the NASCAR Series. Jared Ireland well on his way to the checkered flag. Adam Wilson victorious at Dover. Andy Hurdle first career win in the NASCAR Series. C.D. Mangrum to the checkered flag wins the Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue 175. This win is going to punch his ticket to the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs. Charlie Sears wins at Monza. Who is it going to be? Contact to the line! Kalini gets turned. C.D. Mangrum wins at Indianapolis. What a finish! Good evening, race fans, and welcome to another live production of the Canadian E-Motorsports Network on iRacing. For the past 4 weeks, we've witnessed the cars and stars of the NASCAR Series, powered by Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue, battle to maintain their eligibility for the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup. We started with 12 drivers a couple weeks ago. We're now down to 8, and both tonight and next week we'll decide who the 4 drivers will be that go where they've been working hard for at Homestead Miami Speedway in 2 weeks. The round of 8 for the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs starts now. It's round 20 of 22, yet another inaugural race in Season 5. It is the Bangarang Hard Seltzer 85 at the Chicago Street Course. Or Circuit, or Streets of Chicago, however the hell you want to put it. But anyways, on the call tonight, as per usual, you have the voice you're hearing right now from Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island, here since Season 3. It is Regan McCauley. On the other side, he's been here since the very beginning of it all. He's on the other side of the country in Alberta, Canada. It is Jordy Carraher. Jordy, how are you doing on yet another fine Tuesday night?
Oh, man, this is going to be a bit of a wild evening here, I think, because, again, all the unpredictability at this time of the year, it's hard to ask for much more than that, especially, given how things have gone the last few weeks here. I don't think we have any reason to expect anything different here tonight, so I am revved up and ready to go.
Absolutely. We've gone through 2 rounds where we've only been eliminating 2 drivers each, but now we have finally reached the round where we're eliminating 4 and we're sending 4 to a sudden death race where literally winner takes all. Whoever finishes in front of everyone else gets the championship. And it all starts here tonight to find out who those 4 drivers will be here on the streets of Chicago, of course, and then we head to Auto Club next week. So only 2 races to decide 4 and 4 right there. And no better time to have an inaugural race at the Chicago Street Course than in the round of 8, where things are really on the line, and this is no doubt going to be the most competitive playoff round we've ever seen in series history.
Yeah, I don't think that's, too much of a stretch to say that, because, again, we're looking at a brand new element here tonight in the Chicago Street Circuit, arguably the circuit for iRacing by iRacing, so to speak, in terms of its development. And we'll get into that a little bit further on, but then obviously we've kind of alluded to it, just the circus that Auto Club can be in the best possible way, which will ultimately wind up deciding our championship 4. So still a couple of very eventful, entertaining weeks coming up here.
Absolutely. Things are no doubt going to get tight and aggressive starting tonight and into next week, of course, at Auto Club. Just have those flashbacks to last year's Auto Club race in the Dart Series. That's all that needs to be said. But of course, we'll get to that next week. First of all, we have to focus on Chicago. But before we focus on Chicago, we got to go back to last week's action at the Talladega Superspeedway, the elimination race for the round of 10. It was the Piping Kettle 250 on Tuesday, July 30th, where certainly the car you see taking the checker flag first there at the start finish line, he was certainly not expecting to sweep both stages and win the race for the first time ever in his 5 seasons of racing with us in the Canadian E-Motorsports Network. Corbin McCauley finally won on a super speedway.
Yeah, and I mean, it couldn't have come at a better time for him, obviously. It had been a little bit of a dry spell by his standards, given the Jordan Galenian dominance of the playoffs that we'd seen up to that point. And, for the 17, like, he expressed that relief when I chatted with him post race last week. But ultimately, I say that's something that could very well give him momentum for this weekend, into the next 2 weeks as well, because point wise, you would think he's in a good enough spot to qualify. He's still got to show up, of course, but this final stretch here for the 17, this is kind of where he's got to fight back here and, claim that elusive Earl Ross Cup trophy that's, just been out of his reach each of the first 4 seasons. But, if he can get it done at Dega, he can get it done anywhere. So ultimately, I feel like that could be a bit of a launching pad for him over the next few weeks. It's up to the man on track to make it happen now.
Absolutely. This might very well be the right time for him to peak. It was his first win since June 11th at Pocono Raceway. The win at Talladega last week was his 4th win of the season. As I said, swept both stages. If I go back to the race results, he also led the most laps, 37 of 94 led, and he qualified in 3rd. He was able to avoid all the carnage that happened. So yeah, that won his way into the round of 8, even though mathematically speaking, he was already in on points, but of course the win was right there as absolutely perfect momentum going into the round of 8. Jose Mercado and Ty Higginbottom rounding out the podium positions. Mercado had qualified 10th, Higginbottom had qualified in 14th, and Higginbottom, he was trying to push Andy Hurdle going through turns 3 and 4 to try and catch up to the 17. Unfortunately, contact was made, and that caused the 97 to drop back just a little bit. And then Jose Mercado charged after Macaulay when all of that was done and said. Through the tri-oval, he made a couple of aggressive moves just to try and get by him. Macaulay being aggressive back with some good blocks and was able to get the job done. Jose Mercado, he still has yet to claim his first win in a very long time, first win within the iRacing era as well. But man, oh man, Jose's Mercado run through the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup playoffs, especially since some of the controversies that went on back at Darlington to start off the playoffs. Like, ever since then, Watkins Glen, Bristol, and Talladega, he has had plenty of solid finishes. I mean, a runner-up at Talladega, a track that he's also won at before back in 2021. Again, he heads into the round of 8 below the cut line, but still, though, he's been pretty hot as of recently, and we cannot go into tonight without talking about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's been, a matter of survival for him the last 3 weeks. And you know what? Full credit to the 41. He's gotten the job done. And you know what? He still finds himself in with a chance. And at a track like Chicago and even Auto Club next week, sometimes a chance is all you need.
And then you see guys like Charlie Sears and Andy Hurdle finishing in 6th and 7th. Sears did get caught up in a couple of stuff, of course, but he's hoping to rebound here at a track that's a kind of track that is far more familiar to him. And I mean, it's the kind of track where you'd see him be so successful back in Season 2 of the Dart/IndyCar Series, of course, being the reigning champion there. But the race tonight at the Chicago Street Circuit is going to be absolutely huge for those two, and knowing that they're coming off of top 10 finishes, just falling a couple positions short of the top 5, Manoman and Sears being below the cut line, Hurdle just above, those two drivers are going to be like, you must keep an eye on them going into tonight's race, knowing their road course prowess, and they know how to turn left and right.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing will be, turning left and right is one thing, but got to keep it out of the walls. We'll get into that in a couple of minutes.
Indeed. So, and other shutouts as well. Jason Heaney finishing in 4. Tom Janikowski with his first top 5 finish of the season. I'd imagine it'd be the first within the iRacing era as well. Correct me if I'm wrong. Mason Tomlinson finishing in 8th. Yeah. Mike Marini 9th. Ryan O'Toole first career top 10 finish. So congratulations to him as well. And so we move on to what the driver standings were after the round of 10. Of course, we'll get to where the points are currently sitting when everything is all done and reset. But again, this is how it all ended after Talladega. Collini and McCauley, of course, moving on with wins. Guys like Higginbottom, Mercado making their way in pretty easily. There were a couple jump scares throughout the race for some guys like C.D. Mangrum, Charlie Sears, Andy Hurdle, especially Adam Wilson, and especially too for Kyle Nolan, Darcy Ford, who unfortunately Kyle Nolan, the second-year driver, Darcy Ford, the 2021 Series champion, joined Mike Marini and Jared Ireland in elimination territory. Very unfortunate for those two guys, but I mean, like, for someone like Kyle Nolan as well, we've seen flashes of brilliance out of him ever since he first joined the series. Just wasn't able to really get it up against the competition against him. And knowing Darcy Ford, like after all the years of success and such back in the NASCAR He5, the console days, transitioning to iRacing, he was slowly starting to gain himself and really start to compete with some of the top dogs, especially here in this second season within the iRacing era. But again, just the competition factor against him as well. And of course, he was caught up in an early wreck at Talladega last week when we clearly saw that he had the speed and the raw pace to definitely contend for a win. But of course, good old Talladega being a playoff race, what else do you expect?
Yeah, I mean, certainly a lot on the line and, arguably a spot where there are a lot of opportunities to make things happen. Chaos is just a given at that point, really. And yeah, I think a lot of guys are happy to just be through that particular track at this point in the season.
But then they have to get through tonight's race too.
Very, very different set of challenges.
Absolutely. We hit the Y drafting track at Talladega, and now we have the track where you just got to make damn sure that you're braking correctly or you're not hitting a wall. Otherwise, the meatball will be coming after you. We'll be talking about that just a little bit more in a couple of minutes. But with all of that being said, of course, this is where we lie based on all the points resetting and such and how the last two rounds have gone. Collini, of course, with 3 wins in the playoffs, McCauley with 1. And now here in the round of 8, where Collini and McCauley are far ahead of the cut line. Of course, they still have to start tonight's race and next week's race to still, pretty much advance, but still, they still need to have some pretty good performances here tonight, and it wouldn't be a surprise whatsoever if either of them still get a win and try to build even more momentum going into Homestead, Miami. But then we look at between 3rd and 8th. If I do the math, I know I said it in the post-race article, the gap that's in between there or something like that, but if you can do the quick math better than and quicker than I can, then it's tight. We'll put it that way.
Well, the graphic shows -12 for Mercado, and you see where Higginbotham is in 4th. So I think that's all you really need to know. Higgy's at 4,015 to start the round, Mercado 4,003. So you have 3 other drivers wedged in between there. So yeah, 5 drivers within 12 points of one another for that last spot as it stands right now.
Yeah, I mean, just judging by how some of these drivers have performed this season, there's going to be a group of drivers that are going to be going home after Auto Club next week without a shot at contending for the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup. Like C.D. Mangrum, we've seen how consistent he's been all season, or at least in the regular season, because in the playoffs, there's been a little bit of a drastic drop-off, which now has him at +4 above the cut line. Ty Higginbottom's in there as well with a couple wins on the season, but only at +1. Adam Wilson being -1, first-year driver with 1 win on the year. Andy Hurdle, Charlie Sears also each having 1 win on the season. Mercado, the only driver in the round of 8 that has yet to win here in Season 5. So it's pretty self-explanatory. Like, you got 2 drivers up there, like 34 or more points above the cut line that you could probably just say they're moving on, but again, no, anything's possible. But the rest of the way, it's going to be a dogfight for those final 2 spots.
Yeah, and again, you're looking at 2 guys who are outside that cut line right now. You've mentioned their road course prowess tonight, so this is their opportunity. If they're going to make that move into the championship 4, this is arguably the best opportunity for them to get it done. And you know what, we'll see where everybody's pace is soon enough, as I think quali is just about to start.
Absolutely. We were actually on time this time compared to the past couple of road course races. But of course, tonight being at a road course or street circuit, however you want to put it, we will be having a 50-minute open qualifying session compared to the regular single car, 2 laps per car qualifying sessions on the ovals. So in this one tonight, just like all the other road courses, cars can go out whenever they want and put up a couple laps, and it's basically whoever the fastest is at the end of 15 minutes, you're on the pole.
Yeah, and you know what? I think that's the best way to do it. Just take as many shots as it takes. Arguably, get a feel for the track as well at the speeds you need to be at, but also do it in a responsible manner so you're not, sabotaging your own race.
Actually, tragically, we're not on time because we have a hot lap.
Well, just do that after the quali. That way we can focus on the drivers and we can get to the track itself afterward.
It'll be quick anyways. We'll just get through this session and then we'll get to the description afterwards.
Yep.
With all the time we have and such, might as well just go on out and witness the cars and stars of the Canadian E-Motorsports Network NASCAR Series, powered by Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue, do laps around the Chicago street circuit.
Yeah, and we shall see. I mean, we saw just a few weeks ago how the real-life counterparts handled it, obviously with some weather involved there. But not so much here at the moment.
No, here in the virtual world, we're a little bit more fortunate because yes, the Chicago street circuit in real life has been absolutely cursed with mediocre weather luck. But thank goodness here it's relatively cloudy, but still got some sunshine beaming here on the racetrack, of course.
Yeah, and as you say, plenty of rain, plenty of wind in the real life equivalent of it, but now we just got to see some drivers attempt to burn it up here, but as we've been saying, it's a more technical venture here tonight as opposed to just full throttle the entire time.
Absolutely. So right now we are on the number 17 of Corbin McCauley, last week's winner of the Piping Kettle 250 at Talladega Superspeedway, who showed some really fast speeds in the earlier practice session that we just concluded. He had a bit of a tap there against the wall.
Yeah, nothing wrong with figuring out where those boundaries are, especially if you're looking to push the pace in, what could effectively, well, not so much a do or die scenario compared to Auto Club, obviously, but, every race the stakes just get higher and higher.
So a couple of lap times have been put up here, and probably no surprise whatsoever at the moment that Jordan Kalinian currently at the top of the board over Charlie Sears by about 0.6.
Yeah, I was going to say, if there were any 2 times that you would expect to be up there, regardless of who was putting them up, they'd be in a very short list, shall we say.
Indeed, so some of the statistics I've built up here, just some fun facts. Kalini, of course, has won 4 of the last 5 races. He had won the first 3 races in the playoffs, and then, of course, the streak was broken at Talladega. I mean, are you surprised whatsoever based on that track? He's also claimed pole in 3 of the last 4 races. He's finished on the podium in 7 of the past 9 races, and he and McCauley have combined for 11 wins in 19 races. So 11 of the 19 races have been won by them, and then the other 8 have 6 drivers combined for all those.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly, as much as we talked about parity over the course of the year, there's certainly been 2 leading figures, shall we say.
Indeed so, and now we're here back at it with the number 32 of Charlie Sears. He's finished 6th or higher in just 3 of the last 8 races. Of course, consistency has definitely been his struggle here in his first Canadian eMotorsports Network season on the stock car side, but definitely has shown his flashes of brilliance and has had many spectacular performances. Again, of course, with the top 10 back at Talladega, the win at Monza on the road course right there. So, I mean, that can speak for itself right there if he's able to possibly form an upset for the ages and get the job done here at Chicago. Although, like, again, for a guy like him on the road course, street circuit, however you want to put it, would you really argue upset?
In terms of prowess, no. In terms of the timing of the season, I think you could call it clutch if it winds up happening.
Yes, clutch is indeed one way to exactly put that. Jose Mercado currently holding the 3rd position, 9/10 back of Kalinian. Mercado has finished inside the top 5 in the last 4 races and has qualified 10th or higher in 4 of the last 5 races. So again, momentum has certainly been on his side. Of course, as I was saying earlier, ever since all the shenanigans that took place back at the first race for the Earl Ross Cup Playoffs at Darlington, has definitely rebounded plenty since then. I mean, quite frankly, at Watkins Glen, he had an EOL, and then he was able to make his way up for a top 5 finish.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was... I don't like using the term wake-up call in that situation, but obviously, you know, the thing he needed to kind of motivate himself moving forward here. And I mean, you've seen how things have shaken out the last 3 weeks. This is a guy that, you know what, he might go down sometimes, but he does not stay down. He finds a way forward, and you know what, this is a guy who missed the playoffs last year, and we talk about him as, you know, yeah, he's starting this round 8th, but he's still very much a credible threat to get back to the championship for the 3rd time in his career.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this season he's been outstanding on the road courses with plenty of top 5 and top 10 finishes, and being minus 12 below the cut line going into tonight's race. Knowing how fast he is right now here in qualifying, and he showed some really fast speeds also back in the practice session. Don't be surprised whatsoever if he's able to gain plenty of points there on the cut line when we go to Auto Club next week, which again, though, too, going back to an oval, a wide oval, we're going to have to see if he's able to kind of take the momentum here from the street circuit all the way back onto the ovals.
I mean, I think the short answer is he has.
It appears Jordy has battled yet another technical issue on his end, so we'll wait patiently for him to get back in here. At least this is the qualifying session, and we're not in the middle of the race at the moment, so hopefully try to get those issues over with, said and done, before we drop the green flag to go racing in the Bangarang Hard Seltzer 85. Charlie Sears has propelled himself to the top of the board with a best lap of a 127.964. Jordan Kalinian 2/10 back. Mercado currently holding 3rd. Andy Hurdle back here in the 4th position. CD Magerman 5th, looking to rebound after some rough stuff at Talladega last week. Mike Marini, even though he is out of the playoffs, was eliminated back in the round of 12. Of course, his multiple career wins here in the NASCAR Series have all come on road courses. So looking to possibly get the job done on a street circuit as well. Jared Ireland, Adam Wilson, Ty Higginbottom. There's a pair of Tornado Alley racing drivers, 8th through 9th. Darcy Ford eliminated in the last round after an early crash at Talladega. Still trying to salvage his season with some good finishes, maybe even be able to pick up a win somewhere. So we got 17 cars here that appear to be ready to do battle. Around the 12 corners, oh, Darcy Ford gets into the wall there. And he goes around. Right in front of the 17, he backs into the wall. McCauley gets into the front of him. Ireland's just going to slide right on by. So now 5 minutes remaining here in this qualifying session. Charlie Sears ahead by just barely over Kalinian as Kyle Knoll got into the barriers behind in the background. So again, word that Jordy hopefully will be back in time for the hot lap video that we will show here when this qualifying session comes to an end. But 100 separating the 32 and the 0 for the top spot. 3 cars still have yet to put up a qualifying lap here with now 4 minutes remaining. Besides a little swap between first and second earlier, the top 5. It's the same drivers in there, except now CD Mangrum has put himself into the 3rd position. He has a best time of a 129.157. Got a second back of the 32. And also the 0 as well. Of course, when looking at the leaderboard, a friendly reminder that you'll notice that some numbers are blue and some of them are white. The blue means that they are in the playoffs, so that's your little exclamation right there. All the white number cars not in the playoffs. Most of them going for the best of the rest challenge that we also have alongside the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs. So for those guys that be... Actually, as a matter of fact, Ireland, Marini, and Ford would not count in there, so it'd be actually Justin Belmonte that would be the top Best of the Rest Challenge driver thus far, as he failed to make the playoffs. Tom Janikowski would follow up in there in the number 93 Chevrolet. He's currently sitting in 13th, and there's Mark Roulette in the number 80. Under 3 minutes now to go, so we'll see if Charlie Sears is able to pull off what would be, if we look here at the statistics, it would be his 3rd pole of the season. Actually, as a matter of fact, if he's able to hang on here, it'd be his first on a road course, as his other 2 have come on ovals, being Kansas and Iowa. Meanwhile, Kalinian, along with those 3 straight wins he had in the playoffs before Talladega, of course, he had also won the pole in every single one of those races. So, again, of course, Talladega ending 2 streaks of his. 2 minutes now to go. So the top 3 currently featuring drivers above the cut line, at least 3 of them. And they're going to round over the hill into the final corner. So that was turn 11 into turn 12. We'll see what Sears is able to pull off here with almost a minute remaining. Looks like it might actually be his outlap here because nothing came up on the board. But now 1 minute remaining here in this qualifying session. Nothing has changed from the rest of the leaderboard by the looks of it. So, again, this final minute is going to be crucial for all these drivers. Sears trying to hang on, maybe try to get a slightly better time in case somebody else improves drastically. The question is Mercado going to possibly affect that in any realm here? I think Sears may have had a bit of an issue there as he has dropped back, and he's also loose as well, possibly got into the wall. He certainly did right there. So definitely not going to improve upon his lap. He's going to instead come to an end right there. As for Jordan Kalinian, I believe he got back to the line just in time for one final qualifying lap to see if he can beat Sears. Correct me if I am wrong. But it is currently the cooldown period, as you can see on the leaderboard. And it looks as though 3 drivers are not going to take a lap here for tonight's event. Ty Higginbottom just completed his lap, and looks as though 7th place is going to be it for him. And so Kalinian's going to come around here to complete his lap, and we'll see if he's able to get the job done. Will he steal the pole? And there is absolutely no way. They tied. They tied, but it puts Kalinian in first place. A 127.928 for both the 0 and the 32. And so, it's a tie, but the game is saying Kalinian. So I believe that officially solidifies the starting lineup for tonight's race. We will get into more of that here in just a little bit. You can already kind of see it right now. But of course, as we do every single race, we have to introduce all the drivers that participate in every single one of our races every single Tuesday night. So a big congratulations in some fashion to the number 0 of Jordan Kalinian. Everybody is going to line up somewhere. I'm absolutely unsure of where. All right, it's going to be on the front stretch at the start-finish line, and then they're going to cycle around for a whole lap. I have no idea if we're going to be able to get through the whole starting lineup in just that short amount of time. I imagine we'll try to do our best, but with all that being said, gonna go into a loop here, and I'm gonna go through race control and get these engines fired up for 38 laps and 85 miles of racing around the Chicago street circuit for the first time in Canadian eMotorsports Network history. 17 drivers are ready to do battle here in the first race of the round of 8. It's also round 20 of 22 on the overall calendar. Stay tuned for some wild street circuit action. And so the engines have been fired up here on the front straightaway at the Chicago Street Circuit, and we will introduce the cars and stars that will do battle here tonight at the Chicago Street Circuit, starting on the front row where we have, no surprise whatsoever, on the pole, it is the driver from Salisbury, North Carolina in his first year of the series, Jordan Kalinian, starting on pole, and the driver that tied him, or at least it goes the other way around, but anyways, tying with him in the second spot, driving the number 32 Chevrolet from Charlottesville, Virginia, it is Charlie Sears for 499 Racing. Moving on to row number 2, where we have the Atlanta, Georgia Tornado Alley Racing Toyota driver from the number 1 car, C.D. Magram. Alongside him, the driver of the number 7519 E-Racing Chevrolet from Daytona, Ohio, it is Andy Hurdle. Now moving on to row 3, starting at the bottom end of the top 5, where we have the number 41 Ford of Jose Mercado driving for GTR from Kissimmee, Florida. Alongside him, the driver for the number 13 Chevrolet from Eudora, Kansas, it is Jared Ireland. Row number 4 has the number 97 Toyota from Kansas City, Missouri. That is Ty Higginbotham driving the number 97 Tornado Alley E-Racing Toyota. Alongside him in 8th place, we have the number 12 Toyota of Mike Marini out of Thunder Bay, Ontario. And now to round out the top 10 in row 5, we have the number 64 Chevrolet out of Harrington, Prince Edward Island for 519 E-Racing. It is Darcy Ford. Alongside him, driving for Tornado Alley E-Racing, the number 21 Toyota from Laurel, Delaware, it is first-year driver Adam Wilson. Just outside the top 10, where we have the Best of the Rest Challenge points leader in the number 6 Ford of Justin Belmonte out of Pachico, New York. Alongside him is the number 15 Toyota driving for Storm Surge Esports out of Wendell, North Carolina. It is Kyle Knoll. In row 7, in 13th, we have the number 93 Chevrolet of Tom Janikowski out of Appleton, Wisconsin. Alongside him is the driver of the number 80 Koopa's Racing Chevrolet from Georgina, Ontario. It is Mark Ouellette. Row 8 has the number 17 Chevrolet of Corbin McCauley, your winner at last week's Talladega race. Alongside him is the number 9 Toyota of Jason Heaney for Koopa's Racing out of Altoona, Wisconsin. And to round it all out, the number 77 Ford of Hunter Young for GTR from St. Catharines, Ontario. And so it appears we will be doing one more pace lap here before we go green flag racing at the Chicago Street Course for the Bangarang Hard Seltzer 85. And so for a quick race analysis here, I have not been given information yet on the fuel window, but we have other information, of course. It is 38 laps, 85 miles. Stages 1 and 2 are 10 laps each. Final stage is 18 laps. Pit road speed is 45 miles per hour. As for the fuel window, once I get that information, we will put that in there. And I believe I have heard 13 to 16 laps is it. So if I was hearing correctly, there you go. So it'll be interesting to see how some strategies get played out here. Again, the fuel will last beyond the first stage, but there could be a couple drivers that decide to play interesting here and see how things fare out towards the end of the race. And of course, here being at the Chicago Street Course, for some quick information, a course located in Grant Park in Chicago, Illinois, incorporates parts of Michigan Avenue and Lakeshore Drive in basically a nearly figure-8 layout. 2.1 miles, 3.4 kilometers, got 12 turns, an extremely tight course with several long full throttle straightaways and sharp, heavy braking corners. So 17 cars that are going to do battle here for 38 green flag laps. Or if we do have overtime, it could very well go over that. But just judging by how some of the road course races have gone this season, more than likely not going to be the case. But again, you never know. First race of the round of 8 We're sending 4 drivers on to the championship finale, and then 4 drivers will be going home, of course. And oh my goodness, this might be the greatest timing of all time. Jordy, are you back?
Well, we'll see. I had to revert to a personal hotspot here, but we'll see how long that holds up.
Indeed. So I already introduced the whole starting lineup here, and all the cars are getting back to the start-finish line here. Pace car rolls off of turn 12 down the South Columbus Drive. The green flag is out for the inaugural race on the Chicago Street Course. The round of 8 is underway.
And Kalinian with the quick cover there as he goes to find that braking point into turn 1, which I was looking forward to talking about. But obviously, internet issues
trouble!
Derailed my ability to do a hot lap, but yeah. Ooh, nice statue.
At least there... Oh, come on. There was trouble.
There's a wall tap for Kalinian, I'll tell you that for free.
Oh my. Yeah, I'm going to have to get the replay on that one because the car is completely gone, but we had trouble in turn number 1 in the background. Major trouble.
And now, I guess the interesting question is figuring out who was involved, first off. Oh, dear. Oh, man.
Oh, boy. That is absolutely huge. And not good.
One and done territory there. Just didn't have the breaking point, or not 100% sure what happened there, but obviously you see the end result.
That could be massive here within the points, as the number 17 of Corbin McCauley, 34 points above. Second place going into tonight's race. He crashes out on the first lap. Jose Mercado had a bit of a loose moment there coming off of the final corner, as we're now in lap 2. Jordan Kalinian in the race lead, about a second or so ahead of Charlie Sears.
Yeah, let's just see. Again, I'm not sure how long I'm going to hold on here. It's starting to look a little choppy on my side.
Yeah, fingers crossed that you'll be able to stay in some capacity. Hopefully getting the issues all over with in the qualifying session.
Hopefully.
But so Kalinian, Sears, and Magram currently holding the top 3 thus far. Andy Hurdle is in the 4th position, judging by how all the qualifying results went. Absolutely no changes up until, I believe, 10th, as Belmonte got ahead of Adam Wilson for the bottom end of the top 10. Other than that, besides the 17's issue, relatively the same.
Well, I mean, tight tracks will do that. Doesn't leave a whole lot of room for passing unless you can get, a decent run on one of these straights.
Absolutely. Now, since we didn't have time for the hot lap video, do you want to maybe do a bit of a live one right now?
Yeah, we'll give it a go, I guess, with an onboard here maybe, as Kalinian goes for, that heavy braking point into turn 1. One of 7 90-degree rights you'll see here on the Chicago Street Circuit. Matter of fact, here's another one, turn 2 off of East Balbo onto Lakeshore Drive, and this is arguably where the drivers will be able to build up quite a bit of speed here. The RPM's wanting to touch 5th gear, but you stay in 4th, and then you got to be patient here through turns 4 and 5. You'll dip down to 1st gear coming through 5. You're back on to the other side of South Columbus now. And this will feel more familiar to a NASCAR driver. You'll get to turn left this time around, except it's another 90-degree right about here. Back onto East Balbo for the first of the 2 bridge crossings we'll have over the course of the evening. Railway tracks beneath. Now coming through turn 7, this is South Michigan, excuse me. We're on it briefly before coming through turns 8 through 10 on East Congress Plaza Drive. And then you work your way back onto South Michigan here very briefly before hanging another 90 into turn 11, another crossing. You've got Chicago's famous Art Institute on the left, but don't worry about that because we're going right through turn 12. And there it is, back onto the start-finish straight, and there's your hot lap. And Jordan Kalinian, based on that gap that he's pulling, very much looking like a second city savant here at the moment, Reeks.
I think there might have been an issue with the 32. Yeah, with the 32 Charlie Sears. Yeah, goes for a spin off of turn 1. That drops him back to the 6th position. He spins it fully back around, but drops a ton of spots, as now he's trying to get back into the top 5. He does, ahead of Jared Ireland. That puts him into the 5th position.
Yes, indeed. It's early enough that you don't have to call it a recovery race, and Charlie Sears, he didn't drop enough positions to necessarily justify that label either.
Mike Marini making a potentially unscheduled pit stop? Or is maybe a strategy at play?
Well, the one thing I missed during the rest of the qualifying session was any talk of a fuel window. I'm assuming it's not that.
There you go, if you can read it.
Hey! Yeah, it just came into focus, so it definitely shouldn't be that. Did he just roll backwards?
I don't know what's going on, as he just leaves his pit box now. 44-second time.
Now, would he have been caught up in something early, perhaps, or not 100% sure?
I did press the replay button multiple times, and it didn't... maybe it was even earlier than that, but I didn't catch anything exactly. But with all that being said, Marini is potentially on his way here to being lapped by the 0, Jordan Kalinian, who has led every lap thus far, now in lap 5 of 38. There's Jose Mercado going past Andy Hurdle for the 3rd position.
And again, we talked about it while I was connected earlier. That was one of the things that I got to talk about, was the fact that, you know what, 41 is battling every single race. He has been since Watkins Glen. No reason to expect anything different here tonight. And he'll have company in the form of Charlie Sears looking to reclaim a couple of lost spots here as well.
Actually, it was Hurdle that dropped possibly a couple spots here, because Charlie Sears has now made his way up to 4th, and he's about to get on the rear bumper here of the 41 to try and get back on the podium. 12.5 seconds or so separating the 0 and the 1. Jose Mercado currently charging. Yeah, the 41 and the 32 are both charging after the 1.
Yeah, just kind of lock in those spots now. If you're those 3, I think realistically, Mr. Kalinian very much out of range here for this stage, unless he happens to put a wheel wrong somewhere over the course of the rest of the stage.
Mark Ouellette down pit road. Almost a 30-second pit stop time. Yeah,
there's some odd things happening here, so to speak. I'm not 100% sure whether it's a strategy call, because I'm assuming it wouldn't be you wouldn't be called in for a black flag necessarily, would you, for that? Speeding penalties are one thing, but they wouldn't have stopped.
So about just over half a second separating the 1 and the 41. Gonna have a potential dogfight here for this 2nd position as we come to the conclusion of stage 1. We are just about now halfway on lap 6. Again, reminder, first 2 stages are 10 laps each. Final stage will be 18. So the fuel window will certainly come into play later on if we don't get any cautions, at least incident-related cautions.
Indeed so. And now, I think for Corbin McCauley, again, obviously unfortunate turn 1 issue there. That's where that win last week really helps him out, because not only obviously did he sweep everything, it came with the 7 additional playoff points coming into the round of 8. So if he was one of the two guys where they could afford something to happen, so to speak, and kind of get away with it. But it could get a little hairier here for the 17 going into Auto Club next week. But again, he'd be a lot better off than some of the guys a little bit lower if it had, afflicted them, shall we say.
Absolutely. Mercado had a bit of a ghost moment right there, but he is still well alive and on all four wheels, keeping the wheel mostly straight on the straightaways. At least it's now lap 7, 12.5 seconds separating Kalinian and Magrum. Put a blanket
over.
There is
a position change out of those two, though, right? Because Mercado was ahead of Sears. I don't know if we saw the move from P3.
Yeah, no, that they definitely did change. Yes. But yeah, Sears is really charging his way up after again spinning out from second place and dropping all the way back to 6th. He's now made his way back up +3.
Yeah, and I mean, again, he starts tonight 7th in this round of 8, so he's the guy who needs to make up ground here, and now that he's got Mercado in his rear view, so to speak, that's a guy he's in direct competition with, and he'd love to get past CD Magrum here to, completely limit the damage here, because again, he was P2 before. If he's able to claw back to that spot, I think you have to consider that a successful stage, for Charlie Sears.
Absolutely. Top 5 currently all playoff drivers. Ireland there in 6th, Higginbottom 7th. The rest of the way are all drivers that either missed the playoffs or already eliminated beforehand.
Yeah, and you said 16 in total there for tonight?
17, and then we got to 16 after turn 1.
Okay, all right. That works. Just figuring out, minimum point to... Oh, boy.
That's major trouble for another playoff driver. The 21 of Adam Wilson with the front end completely gone. Left side tire about off the axle.
And he'd kind of gotten caught up, from what I understand, in some of the turn 1 chaos involving Corbin McCauley as well. So the 21 not having a great night, and he comes in outside the playoff picture. Oh boy, front end went flying there in that last replay. So we know what's coming.
Ooh,
and
man.
That's where it was going.
The edge of the tire barrier right there.
Yeah, just couldn't quite cut her back quick enough on that right-hander.
And I believe that would have been turn 5. So
yeah, so just coming back on to South Columbus there.
Yeah, and then he hit it again.
Ooh. Yeah, that's not the start he would have wanted, to say the very least.
Indeed, and as we were talking and replaying all that, Charlie Sears has gotten past CD Magrum for the 2nd position. So right back where he originally was. Kalinian 15 seconds ahead of everybody else, and of course he'll be coming around here to take the white flag for Stage 1. Well on his way to what would be his 16th stage win of the season.
Yeah, he's won enough of these, hasn't he? Say the very least.
No, he hasn't won enough poles and enough races and enough stages. No.
I mean, the driver will say it's never enough, obviously, but by comparison.
Indeed. So it's looking like Kalinian and Sears should be relatively safe for 1st and 2nd unless things absolutely go completely wrong. But CD Magrum and Jose Mercado are going to have quite the battle here for that 3rd position. It's only 1 extra point that could be very valuable moving forward.
I mean, certainly a lot more valuable to Mercado than it is to Magrum at this point, but Magrum will be a little hotter under the collar here, so to speak, as he gets closer and closer to that cut line. The You were talking about the lack of consistency in the playoffs. This is where that could potentially start to bite the one.
That's the thing, too. He's made it all the way here to the round of 8, so really this is when you really have to shine, and we'll be able to see if CD Mangrum can truly be able to get a clutch performance finally in after struggling through the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, and again, too, after what was such an incredibly consistent regular season with 2 wins at Iowa and Indianapolis. But here's Jordan Kalinian coming around the final corner down the South Columbus Drive. He is going to take stage 1.
And, I mean, once Charlie Sears had that spin, it felt pretty much academic. But again, full credit to the 32 here coming back through the field and, absolutely maximizing the damage control here as he's going to cross P2.
Sears 2nd, Mangrum 3rd, Mercado 4th, Andy Hurdle rounds out the top 5, Jared Ireland 6th, Ty Higginbottom will get 7th, Darcy Ford and Justin Belmonte are going at it for 8th, but it looks as though the 64 is going to hang on for the better spot, and Kyle Knoll will round out the top 10, and there's the caution.
All right, and the beautiful thing about road courses is that I can give you pretty much immediate feedback in terms of what that means for everybody, because I would have to imagine there's been a bit of a shake-up toward the bottom, but we'll find out soon enough.
Indeed so. So, of course, as I said, Jordan Kalinian will get to 16 stage wins on the year, also getting to 8 poles, and that's wins. No, it's still 7 wins. Pole wise, okay, it is still 7.
Just breathe for a sec.
All over the place.
Don't overthink it. Okay, let's see why.
So that's 7 wins, 7 poles, 16 stage wins. Yeah, how much more can you? How many more can you get?
Well, I think the only thing he's focused on at this point is one Earl Ross Cup.
Basically, that's pretty much that's the one and only thing that you really want to go for, because whenever you head to the championship finale, all those other numbers, besides maybe a win, don't matter.
It's the whose line is it anyway race of the season.
Basically.
Yeah. And let me just make absolutely sure I have everything right here. All right, I can confidently talk about what things look like as of now. And yeah, so Jordan Kalinian, obviously with the stage victory, that's yet another playoff point. Again, it won't matter for him as soon as he qualifies for the Championship 4. Just purely momentum as much as anything else. He's got a plus 22 gap to Corbin McCauley in 2nd, and 51 to the good of the bubble, it should be noted. It's tightened up a lot around the bubble, I should note. 3 through 8, none of them are safe right now. So CD Mangrum, he's 3rd. He's plus 7 to the bubble. And it's a dead heat between Ty Higginbotham and Andy Hurdle for 4th right now. Both picking up stage points there in our opener. Higginbotham grabs 4, Hurdle 6. 9 points for Sears. That brings him within 4 points of the cut line. Adam Wilson drops further. He's 5 back in 7th as they run live right now. And Jose Mercado, despite the 4th place finish in the stage, he's still got a little ways to go here. He is 9 back of the cut line as we run right this second.
And with Adam Wilson being the second DNF of the race, you can see on the leaderboard he is out as well after that incident that he had there in turn number 5. That is going to absolutely help Mercado possibly jump him as this race goes on and when we get to the final checkered flag. But yes, indeed, Kalinian, plus 51. He's pretty much well on his way to a spot in the next round, but again, though, Racing Gods still can do whatever the heck they choose to do. Macaulay at only plus 29, so that's going to be really interesting to see how that shapes out once this race comes to an end, as everybody will head down pit road here under this stage caution. And yes, it's quite the tight entry there. You're coming right off the corner, and then you have to make a sharp right turn.
Yeah, that could prove eventful here over the course of the evening. While they do that, I am going to see if my more stable internet connection is back and available for me. And if I dip out quickly, that is why. And hopefully it won't be too long.
Huh. A lot of very different decisions here by a bunch of these guys. And yes, and Jordy actually literally just dipped, so he was right. But wow, some interesting calls from a lot of these guys where the top 4 took just fuel. So Sears, Manger, Mercado, and Ford looks like they all took just fuel. Kalinian went for 4 tires and fuel. Andy Hurdle, for some reason, has no time. Belmonte, Hunter Young, fuel only. Still a bunch of cars on pit road. Unsure if there's possibly speeding penalties, or maybe there is. Maybe some of these guys did inflict some damage incapacity.
Well, we'll find out soon enough, certainly.
And welcome back again.
Yeah, I'm just deciding to ride out the hotspot for the course of the evening here. I briefly changed, and it still didn't work, and I didn't want to waste any more time.
Fair enough.
So yeah, that was a notable jump from Sears on that pit stop. Yeah, was that Mangrum sneaking ahead of him too?
Yeah, I'll get to that in a second, but Hurdle didn't get a time. I'm confused.
I mean, we see him there, obviously.
I don't know if that's a glitch in the system or maybe something did happen. Confirmation would be great, but if we don't get it, then we'll just have to move on and hope for the best out of the number 7. But looks like we're going to be going back to green on lap 15 of 38.
Yeah, and you mentioned the 4-tire call for Kalinian. That's particularly interesting here because obviously well, you got to figure out, I guess, what the fuel windows look like. Realistically, you would think most of these guys would have fueled up at that particular point. Theoretically, Kalinian potentially could stay out or have a shorter stop at the end of stage 2, because you're looking at 18 laps there. If he's already out on the 4 tires, maybe you run a little longer now, but we'll see how it plays out. I think the point I'm trying to make here is that I'm not necessarily worried about him losing 4 positions out of pit lane.
I mean, on those 4 tires compared to the top 4, more than likely he's going to find a way to skyrocket by them within the first lap.
Well, anywhere else, I would agree with that, but I mean,
first 2 laps, maybe.
If it was literally any other track, I'd probably see that. Like, he'll have a little more difficulty with how tight Chicago is, but I think we're about to find out here soon enough, and we've only got 6 laps to do it.
Indeed so. So yeah, we've only got till lap 20, so it's going to be a 6-lap shootout here. Almost half of stage 1 here to the half length of stage 1 to decide who's going to come out here as the middle stage winner in the Bangarang Hard Seltzer 85 at the Chicago Street Course. Charlie Sears in the lead, looking to win his way into the championship 4, and man, oh man, what a story that would be out of the reigning Darts Series champion, the guy again in his first year in a stock car in the Canadian E-Motorsports Network, powered by Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue. C.D. Mangerman second. I mean, you got this top 3 here that all would love to win their way into the sudden death finale at Homestead Miami Speedway in 2 weeks. Darcy Ford in the 4th position, of course, eliminated from the playoffs last week after an early crash at Talladega. But again, he could still salvage the season with a race trophy. Still very possible. And then there's Jordan Kalinian. It's self-explanatory.
Yeah, he's got plenty of them, but again, like I said earlier, the racer in him, never enough.
Never enough. Down, or I guess kind of up and down East Jackson Drive. The field will make their way to turn 12 to South Columbus Drive and take the green flag for stage 2. 6 laps till the next green checkered flag. Charlie Sears leads the field back to green.
And Sears trying to do a decent job of covering Mangrum. How about Mercado with the follow in for second, but did he overcook it?
Oh, Ty Higginbottom almost got spun in the back, but he saves and keeps it going. And look at go back to what I was saying earlier. Kalinian's already to second.
Well, I was wondering if, again, I thought Jose Mercado might have outbraked himself going into turn 1, and that would have provided an opening for Kalinian to grab at least one position. And to see him jump Mangrum in the middle of all that as well, and obviously Andy Hurdle, like, that's just a skilled restart from a guy we know is more than capable of getting away.
Absolutely. I believe Jared Ireland just got by Darcy Ford for 7th. There's a couple of changes back here. Noel looks like he might have a bit of a scuff there on his left front. Ooh, Tom Janikowski had a moment there exiting turn 5, but he keeps the car going. A little bit of a left front scuff on him as well.
Yeah, just a little bit of a mini drift there, shall we say.
But it's all Sears, Kalinian, and Mercado up here in the top 3. Each of them chasing one another down here into the final corner. Charlie Sears is going to lead lap 1 of stage 2.
Yeah, and again, Sears doing a good job of getting wide on South Columbus, giving him the best possible entrance into turn 1.
Jason Heaney had a moment there off the final turn, but he keeps it going just fine. Sears might have had a bit of a wiggle there. Yeah, a bit of a wobble there. Coming at a turn 2 through turn 3. Ooh, Kalinian's going to go for the dive bomb. Oh, we almost did.
I was going to say, I think Kalinian might be that kind of proverbial shark in the water here, so to speak. Just kind of circling here right now. He's got 4 laps. He can afford to be more than patient here with Charlie Sears. As accomplished as he is, you know, Kalinian, he is proven that he can also be patient as well, which very important around a rather tight street circuit here in the Windy City.
And Jose Mercado was absolutely ready to pounce if anything happens within the top 2.
I mean, fantastic job of maintaining pace here with the top 2, it has to be said. You know, the last, 3 weeks to a month, like, he's found something here again. Probably that kind of subtle motivator to begin the playoffs. And you know what? He's been in with a fight every single week ever since.
He had a bit of a brush against the wall out of turn 12. That dropped him back just a little bit, but still well within the realm here to go after the second stage victory as, someone's in trouble.
That was the move.
Someone's in trouble. Mark Roulette, I believe.
Kalinian made the move for the lead.
Oh, perfect timing.
Yeah, he was, I had just seen him go to the inside of 2. And yeah, that's where he was able to get the job done.
I feel like timing on a lot of stuff here tonight has been a little off. Oh boy. Something just happened. Jared Ireland, front end gone.
Not the first. I feel like he may not be the last. Same spot. Yeah, just too much speed into 4, and yeah, just pretty much instant doom there for the 13.
And I believe Mark Roulette, again, is I was trying to get back to him there in the background a couple seconds ago. It looks like he had an issue as well. But yeah, another turn 4. Once again, that heavy braking zone claims another driver.
Yeah, just so hard to get the breaking point right there.
Oh, Darcy Ford!
Oh boy, there's another front end gone.
Casualty of turn 12.
It's a new one. I wonder, like, just a little too much speed coming off of that bridge? We'll have to see. Yeah, that's what it was.
So a couple playoff drivers have fallen in the hands here of the Chicago Street Circuit, and a couple other drivers outside the playoffs, as either eliminated from the playoffs or didn't make the playoffs, have been involved in instance here as we got 3 laps to go in the second stage. Jordan Kalinian leading the way by about a second or so over Charlie Sears. Kalinian looking for his 4th win here in the playoffs.
Yeah, 4th in the playoffs. That tells you how things have gone for the lion's share of the rest of the field.
And again, too, as I said earlier, Kalini and McCauley having combined for 11 wins in the 19 races that we've had here in Season 5 thus far. Those two are the only drivers that have won in the playoffs, too. So, is that streak going to keep going here tonight? Is it going to keep going at Auto Club? Or are we going to see one of them get the job done at Homestead Miami? It's like, when do we finally see a breaking point? Do we ever?
Well, I mean, we will, just by nature of the schedule ending. But,
yes.
I mean, Kalinian, if he's able to hang on tonight, he ties the single season wins record set just last year by one Corbin McCauley. So that would be a statement in and of itself, especially with 2 races to go.
And yeah, if he were to win tonight at Auto Club and Homestead Miami, that'd be double digits.
Yeah, as I say, nobody's touched that mark. So that would be one for the ages if he was able to hang on, but we still got to drive all those miles first.
Absolutely. It'd be, again, if that scenario were to happen, it definitely by far would be the greatest first year campaign by a driver in series history, and even I believe Canadian eMotorsports Network history in general. But again, though, that might have been an absolute jinx right there. We still have this race to officially close down here, as we now have 20 laps to go in the Bangarang Hard Seltzer 85 at the Chicago Street Course.
Yeah, I'd have to look back. Like, well, obviously there was Corbin McCauley's F1 season where he got to double digits.
Okay,
but
good to know.
Certainly hasn't happened on the NASCAR side. And I'm just checking to see if it happened in season 1 of Dart.
Oh boy, Justin Belmonte now a victim.
Man, oh man.
Also turned 12.
Jeez. They get over that hill and they just suddenly think they're John Belushi. They're going all Blues Brothers here. Except there's no, magical tunnel for them to go through.
The front end. It hopped over the wall, almost hit the official, and just disappeared into the abyss.
Sure, we'll go with that.
That's realism at its finest.
Sure. Although with that said, it's funny we're talking about that. I got to watch the NASCAR 25 Dev Diary video for the first time here this afternoon, and realism was a big theme that they were looking for as the iRacing guys make the move to the console, or the integration, I guess, to the console side of things.
Absolutely. So that is the stage checkered flag right there for stage 2. Kalinian winning again. Sears second. Mercado third. Yeah, I see. We're now on lap. These guys are getting to lap 21, so obviously it's done. Magram 4th, Hurdle 5th. Looks like Ty Higginbottom is going to come around here for the 6th position. Kyle Knoll got a little loose there, but thank goodness not another turn 12 victim. 7th for him. Mike Marini is just coming around here for 8th. Jason Heaney 9th. Tom Janikowski makes his way in a turn 11 and over the hill. The stage caution comes out anyways. Janikowski will get 10th by default. And there you have it.
Indeed you do. Let me just... hang on. Just making 1,000% sure I've got all of this right. Okay. What's happening?
Oh my goodness. Oh, man.
Oh. Another front end.
Marini, a victim under caution.
This is some Yikers Island stuff here.
So only the top 10 out of, I think 14 cars left in this one are on the lead lap. Hunter Young is a lap down. Justin Belmonte is a lap down, still in his pit box at well over 2.5 minutes. Darcy Ford is running without a front end. If you take the hood off, you could arguably call it a modified.
Indeed so. And speaking of modified, I've got some modified live standings here for you, Reegs.
Oh, that was just perfect.
Hey, I figured it was good, yeah. So Jordan Kalinian, another stage win. He is 56 points to the good right now. Corbin McCauley, obviously his early misfortunes have, excluded him from any points opportunities. His gap is plus 24 to the good right now. CD Mangrum with the 4th place finish in stage 2 grabs 7 points. He's plus 9 to the good. Then it gets spicy 4, 5, and 6. Andy Hurdles made the move up to 4th. 1 point clear of both Ty Higginbotham and Charlie Sears. That's Sears despite finishing 2nd in both of the stages so far. Jose Mercado's made the move up to 7th, 7 points back. And Adam Wilson, with the issues that he had in stage 1 that led to his retirement, he is 11 back right now. But yeah, the big story, 1 point separating 3 drivers at the bubble.
And is advanced official what I'm reading?
No.
Oh, it's not. Okay.
No, that's just the formula deciding to be a little too proactive.
I mean, if he doesn't win, I guess we could argue.
Well, at this point, he's looking at a minimum. If something catastrophic were to happen and he finished 15th, that's still a minimum of 22 points. So realistically, the odds are looking pretty good.
And again, yeah, going back to that gap that we have, Magram in 3rd, he's currently in 4. You got Sears, Mercado, Magram, Hurdle, and Higginbottom. 5 drivers right there from 2nd to 6th. And you see all that going on right there between 3rd and 7th in points.
Yes, you do. And as you said, the interesting thing about this, now that we've got stage finishes, that could potentially bring Corbin McCauley back into the mix here, because he, with the 17th place classification, is looking at 20 points. So, you know what? He's kind of getting clawed back into the woods here, but we'll see just what extent the damage is once the checkered flag waves.
And so coming off the final corner, it looks like everybody's going to make their way down pit road. We saw a couple interesting decisions out of some guys in the during the first stage caution, as most drivers went for fuel. Kalinian took 4 tires in fuel. Hurdle, I am absolutely unsure of what happened with him, because again, a time didn't come up with him. So we're going to see what happens here with everybody else.
And in the potato vision, that says 16 laps to go. Is that correct?
Yep.
That is the top end of the pit window as it was shown on the graphic earlier. So, theoretically, with these next couple laps assumed to be run under caution, you're looking at having just enough probably to make it to the end here with no more stops.
Could this be a fuel finish?
Well, I think the 2 caution laps will help save just enough.
Yes.
But it could still be very interesting, we'll put it that way.
Absolutely. There's still a bunch of cars on pit road pretty much fixing damage. Kyle Knoll just exiting out. That left front is pretty scratched up. Mike Marini and Darcy Ford again without front ends. Justin Belmonte's without a front end. Jason Heaney's been in his box for well over a minute. Hunter Young as well. Jared Ireland now joins Wilson and McCauley in the DNF zone, so that's 3 cars out of this race. Marcolette's 9 laps down, but still in it, so 14 cars still remaining here in this race. Although if we were to count just cars on the track, that would be 9.
Yeah, that's a bit of a yikes, isn't it?
And hopefully no more in this third and final stage.
I was going to say, a little bit more room to work with. 9 cars over the course of, not quite 2.2 miles, but those walls can close in very quickly, as we've seen time and time again.
So the top 6 currently are all playoff drivers. Tom Janikowski in 7th. He's currently the best the rest challenge driver thus far. Jason Heaney's back there in 9th. Hunter Young is still in his box there in 11th. Heaney's coming back around. His pit stop time was 1 minute and 38 seconds. But it's all Jordan Kalinian.
Roughly a lap.
Yeah, it's all Jordan Kalinian pioneering the field right now, looking to possibly sweep the race. And again, go for a 4th playoff win. And I guess if I were to look at this schedule again, that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 5 wins within the last 6 races, including tonight if it does happen.
Yeah, just, absolutely showing up when it's mattered the most. Like, he did plenty of damage in the regular season, obviously, but playoff Jordan Kalinian has been an entirely different level.
But again, though, as we were talking about earlier, you could argue it all doesn't matter when we get to the championship finale, because that's when you truly need to win.
Yeah, it absolutely doesn't matter once you're at that point, but you still have to get there.
Now, again, last year, of course, we did have a driver still win the championship without winning the race, because Dylan Baum won at Homestead Miami Speedway, and then Scott Bailey went on to win the championship when he finished, I believe, 2nd. So we'll have to wait and see on how all that shapes out. But again, judging by the drivers that we could very well have in the championship for at Homestead Miami Speedway in 2 weeks' time, I mean, if it's like Kalinian's there, we'll have to wait and see on how things turn out for Corbin McCauley when we get back around to Auto Club. If CD Magra makes it through, he's in there. Man, oh man, what a story it would be if Charlie Sears was able to come around and shock the field, especially within the next 2 races.
Well, I mean, that was the notable thing about Scott Bailey winning his title last year. He didn't win until the last race before the finale. So,
yes,
could it happen again? Absolutely.
Yeah, it'd be quite interesting if if our champion just so happened to be a driver that has not combined for the 11 wins.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like the similar feeling to not having the guy who won 8 out of 17 last year take it. Similar vibes. But you know what? As I said a couple of times now, still got to finish the miles. Still got to get there.
Indeed, that's just what the Earl Ross Cup Playoffs have to offer. And here in this 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs, our most intense and competitive that we've ever seen in series history. The field going to come around off of turn 12 for the green flag. 3rd and final stage underway. It's going to be 14 laps to the checkered flag.
And again, Mercado following into 2nd place off of that restart. So something off of that kind of line, I don't want to call it an outside. Well, I guess it would be an outside line. No, inside line. Something about that inside line just working as Kalinian just took off.
And Mercado actually has moved up to 2nd over Sears.
Well, that's what I was saying. He just pretty much followed the, Kalinian punched the hole in the air. Mercado took advantage. Fantastic restart. And, yeah, grabbed himself the position.
Already a 2nd separating the 0 and the 41. So Kalinian pretty much trying to be well on his way to sailing away from the field and be well on his way to securing his spots in the Championship 4. But again, though, still under 14 laps here to the checkered flag, so still plenty of time for things to shape out. And with all that being said, of course, we'd like to thank the sponsors and partners that are with us within the Canadian eMotorsports Network. Obviously, without them, all this would not be possible. Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue, the title sponsor of the NASCAR Series for Season 5. Rampage Coffee Co., Pipe and Kettle Soup, Forked River Brewing Company. Of course, Bangarang Hard Seltzer, the title sponsor of tonight's event. Nordic Aluminum, GSGSG Vinyl 3D, GTR, and of course, powering the Crank It Up in every single race here in Season 5. It is TrackCams22.com. Thank you very much to them for obviously providing us with these outstanding broadcast cameras that you see in each and every race for the Canadian eMotorsports Network on iRacing. So, for a couple laps here, enjoy some up-close and personal street circuit action with the TrackCams22.com. Crank it up. Well, unfortunately, it's not going to be they're about to talk. It's he's about to talk because, unfortunately, technical issues continue to elude Jordy Carraher, who once again is not with us at the moment. So we may have to get through this finish here without him, and it's going to be very interesting to see how this all plays out in terms of the fuel window. Because, again, the fuel window being 13 to 16 laps, of course, as Jordy said. And, okay, yeah, I had to get rid of that. Whoopsies. Oh, there we go. Well, welcome back. What I was going to say there is you alluded to earlier about the fact that the slow caution laps definitely was able to help drivers conserve fuel with the fuel window, but still, it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out here coming to the checkered flag.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a lot to play for as, man, oh man, Sears getting a little loose there, getting a little anxious in his efforts to try and reclaim P2.
Absolutely. The 32, I believe, had a moment at some point, did get into the wall trying to enter one of the turns and drop back just a little bit, but now he has reeled the 41 back in as Kalanian continues to lead right there as he's heading into turn 1. Second and third place just getting to the start-finish line now is 7 laps to go. Top 6 still all playoff drivers. But 41-32, second and third. C.D. Mangrum trying to hold off Andy Hurdle for the 4th position. Ty Higginbottom is going to have to get past Mark Goulet and then try to chase after the 1 and the 7 to see if he can improve where he's at right now. Had a bit of a weird exit there coming out of turn number 1. Goulet's going to let the 97 by.
Yeah, and able to avoid the tire barrier in his efforts to make that happen.
Yeah, going back to the playoff points again, I mean, like Mercado being -7, Sears being tied with Higginbottom at 1 point below the cut line. Man, oh man, if the results end up being the way this goes right here, or if Sears gets by, whatever happens, it's certainly going to be interesting to see how the points are going to shape out once we get to Auto Club next week.
Yeah, and the beautiful thing about, again, road courses is that these things can be calculated a lot faster. So I'll be able to give you a pretty good idea probably before you even interview the winner. But we'll go through the unofficial standings before confirming all that, of course.
And Sears is going to have to make sure he doesn't try too hard to... why is there smoke?
Chicago could be any number of reasons. Oh, boy.
We have a dead
Monty.
engine.
Yeah, that would do it.
I'm sorry, what was the point I was getting to?
I think you were talking about you were wanting to see the overall impact with the top 6 all being playoff drivers and how things could get considerably tightened up going into next week.
Yeah, what I was, I think I remember now what I was going to say. The 32 is going to have to make sure he doesn't try a little too hard against Mercado here, as he just got the wall there, had a bit of a wiggle as well. The 41, we know he tries to have a damn good defensive game no matter the track that he goes to. He was actually put against a defensive game by the 17 of Corbin McCauley back at Talladega, so he's looking to do it the other way around, except with another driver, a little bit less experienced. So, don't know how this one might turn out in terms of reactions. Oh, Mercado got the wall there coming into turn 11. So it's actually both drivers that might be trying a little too hard here to try and go for this second position, as now we're at 5 laps to go that Kalinian just took. So this is going to be a dogfight for this second position, but again, though, too, I imagine the drivers should make it back okay on fuel, but again, you never know.
Yeah, it feels like, again, the math should add up for them, but yeah, the biggest, oh man, Sears going, fast and furious here. I mean, maybe a little too fast. Could have wound up furious if he'd ended up in the wall, but yeah, we saw Jose Mercado in the wall there a little bit earlier, just that little tap. I mean, what's he shown over the course of the 5 seasons? He's always going to be aggressive. He's always going to push for that extra 10th or half 10th, 100th of a second. You've got a lockup here.
Mercado with a huge lockup. That's going to put Sears into second.
Yeah, just missed the breaking point entirely. There did the 41, and that was where I was about to get with that particular point. With Jose Mercado, yeah, you love the driving style, but it's very much live by the sword, die by the sword, and we'll see here. It's looking like it's going to be a P3 at this point, but, this is where every point matters. So this could be, like, that lockup could well, it's not going to help him anyways. He goes into pit lane.
Wow.
This is interesting. Unless it's a tire game now, which 4 laps to go, that feels a little suspicious, but maybe the contact was worse than we thought.
Well, yeah, he pounded the wall with the right front.
Man, oh man. This is disastrous for the 41.
He has now dropped back to 6th. So we'll see how long he's going to be in his pit box. We might as well get a quick replay of what happened there, because not much else is going on. That's a little too far back.
But I mean, you see the chase. Yeah, there it is. That's 6 there that happened. A little bit of a weird spot for that, actually.
I mean, it can happen anywhere.
It can, but like for the majority of the evening, we've seen it kind of into the tire barrier in 4. That was just straight wall.
In a turn 4 tire barrier, the turn 12. It's been sometimes the tire barrier, sometimes the concrete wall. And then heading into turn 1, Mike Marini under the stage caution locked the brakes up and just barely got the edge of the barrier. But yeah, Jose Mercado is now back on track. Looks like a top 10 finish is more than likely for him still, but still a ton of points lost. 40-41 after that catastrophic lockup. So at this point, the 0 is well on his way to the win, unless, again, something catastrophic happens with him. So at this point, all the 32 needs to do is just finish the damn thing.
Yeah, I mean, P2 across the board, outside of Kalinian putting on another display of dominance. That's about as good as you could ask for, especially for a guy like Charlie Sears, who again came into tonight outside and he knew this was probably going to be certainly, his, not that he couldn't do it at Auto Club, but certainly the odds were more in his favor here in Chicago.
And so now the battle that we'll pay attention to that's brewing is between the 1 and the 7 for the bottom end of the podium with 2.5 laps to go. Kalinian about well over 9 seconds ahead of Sears, and then Magrum is 11 seconds back of the 32. So for the 1 and the 7, there's a couple extra points that could be on the line here, which could be massive.
Well, the 7, this would be a crucial point if he was to make the pass. He's 1 point up on Charlie Sears right now, who's second. If Hurdle can get to third, those two are in a dead heat.
Kalinian has just taken 2 laps to go now. Sears second. It's a matter of Magrum can hang on over Hurdle for that podium finish. Ty Higginbom looks like he's well on his way to a top 5. Kyle Knoll in 6th, despite some stuff that's happened with him. Mike Marini 7th with a front bumper. That's quite the accomplishment. I mean, again, we know this guy, the multiple wins that he has in the NASCAR series have all come on road courses. There's Mercado in 8th. Janikowski's 9th, so another solid finish for him. Darcy Ford looks as though he was able to gain a front end back, so despite being 2 laps down, it looks like he's going to still finish in the top 10 if nothing else goes wrong. And then pretty much everybody else except for Mark Ouellette still on pit road.
All right. Yeah, this battle is, again, very intriguing just the way it's playing out here. Again, Hurdle, if he was able to grab third from Mangrum here, that would potentially be massive.
Indeed so, as there's the flagman waving the white flag for the Bangarang Hard Seltzer 85 at the Chicago Street Course. Jordan Kalinian well on his way to winning his way into the championship for Charlie Sears in 2nd place. But then back here, CD Magrum versus Andy Hurdle for that 1 or multiple extra points. You're the points guy, however it is.
Each position would just be 1.
Okay, so 1 point, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of 1 point between these 2 drivers, which could absolutely be crucial going into Auto Club, and then even how the points shape out after Auto Club, of course. Oh, Kyle Knoll now doesn't have a front end. Oh, boy!
Oh.
And that's going to drop him further down the board, or at least 1 position for now. Jose Mercado might be able to get by him eventually, but
there he goes.
It's all Jordan Kalinian well on his way to the win. Magrum and Hurdle are still going at it.
So that's not insignificant for Jose Mercado after the issues he had to claim another place with Kyle Knoll's misfortunes. That's, it still keeps him within striking distance.
Ooh. We got to catch Kalinian getting across the line. So, anyways, off the final corner, Jordan Kalinian is going to win the inaugural NASCAR Series race on a street circuit on the streets of Chicago. CD Magrum's going to try to hang on over Andy Hurdle for the 3rd position as Charlie Sears takes home the runner-up spot. Will Hurdle attempt to make a move?
I don't know if he's close enough. Yeah, Magrum's going to shut that door. Maybe Hurdle's going to get a good run here. Drag race to the line. Mangrum gets it.
Hurdle actually played it a little bit smart there. You saw the kind of line that he took there, entering the corner and exiting. Like, it was a perfect apex, if that's the proper term.
Yeah. Yeah, just tried as I said, the switchback there at the very end. Just not enough runway between himself and the start-finish.
And then it's this guy, man oh man. 5 wins within the last 6 races, and now 4 playoff wins within 5 playoff races. Holy cow.
Yeah, this is, tonight was a clinic, and just for Jordan Kalinian, clinic will be spelled with a K at both ends. I think he may have just held on long enough.
Yeah, it was 15 lap stints for almost everybody.
Yikes.
The checker flag's out. It's all good if anything happens at this point.
Still, though. But, I mean, you want to talk all good. Again, how about race win number 8 of the season and just further establishing his dominance over the rest of the field?
And the first driver to book their ticket to the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs Championship 4, the championship finale at Homestead Miami Speedway in 2 weeks' time, and the man with the most wins on the season, absolutely deserving of the win here tonight and the secured spot in the Final Four. He absolutely dominated this one. If I were to quickly, go to driver info, yeah, he led 33 of the 38 laps.
Yeah, pretty much just the laps coming out of that stage 1 caution pit stop. That was literally it. And you saw how quickly he was able to get back up to the head of the field, which he did not relinquish.
Absolutely not. And I'll get into the in-game chat here and have a discussion with your race winner of the Bangarang Hard Seltzer 85 at Chicago, the number 0 of Jordan Kalinian out of Salisbury, North Carolina. We've been interviewing this guy plenty of times. Or at least I have.
Yes.
So, Jordy, you can go ahead and put together some questions. I'll know, and I will relay them here to Mr. Kalinian.
Yeah, and I've learned that I have to work very quickly.
Yeah, especially too, this guy loves to have his, he loves to be a quick answerer. Is that even a word?
Yeah, quick responder. I knew what you were talking about.
Close enough. But yeah, the guy just likes to get the job done no matter the circumstances, whether it's getting the race win or getting the interviews done, and it'll be yet again another one here with the guy now with 8 wins in Season 5. And again, though, if he were to win again within the next 2 weeks, that would be the first time in NASCAR Series history where we've had a double-digit winner in a single season. So, with all that being said, I'll try to pipe in and have a word with this man.
Jordan.
Jordan Kalinian, this is Regan up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I got you, Regan.
Fantastic. Man, oh man. Jordan Kalinian, what a clinic that you put on here tonight. Once again here in the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs. You are the inaugural winner of a NASCAR Series street circuit race. Again, leading 33 of 38 laps, and now with 4 wins in the playoffs, 5 wins within the last 6 races, including the Rockingham regular season finale. We're interviewing you once again. But this time around, you have officially booked your ticket to the Championship 4 at Homestead Miami Speedway in 2 weeks' time. That must definitely be a relief, knowing how things shaped out here tonight and just knowing how intense things may get next week at Auto Club.
Yeah, really excited to be locked into that final round. That's going to be fun to be able to go for the championship. Really wasn't sure what to expect too much from today, with it being my first street course. Having the walls on both sides definitely gets a little bit scary there. So it's just really important to get that pole and be able to just kind of maintain the lead and kind of be able to keep the pace of the race, and that was just really important.
Indeed it was, and just about to ask a question here, but Jordy actually... Jordy read my mind. Obviously, you had the buffer to the rest of the field going into the round of 8. I mean, like, just judging by the performance here tonight, and even in points as well. But just how satisfying was it to be in control from start to finish on such a technical track, especially a track 2 where, like, I guess almost half the field got into the wall or had some sort of an issue throughout the race, especially 3 cars who DNF'd, unfortunately. So just how satisfying was it to be in control from start to finish on such a track like this, especially running on it for the first time in series history?
Definitely satisfying. Just being in control, being able to kind of have my race in my own hands and not have to deal with potentially getting in a wreck or making a mistake back there, pushing harder was really important.
Now, of course, being locked into the championship for Auto Club next week, it's the 1 week where you'll have nothing to race for, since obviously the points are not going to matter in the finale. How are you going to approach next week's race? Like, is it just a matter of maintaining consistency at that point, building momentum going into Homestead Miami? Like, what's it going to be all about next week with your book ticket to the Championship 4?
It definitely allows me to be able to be a little bit smarter with the racing. I don't have to push for the points, but honestly, getting more stage wins and another race win would be pretty cool too. So,
I mean, yeah, if you were to win the next 2 races, then you'd be the first driver in series history to claim double-digit wins in a single season. So, do you think that's very possible?
Definitely a possibility. I haven't done Auto Club in a little while, so we'll have to see how that is. I know it's another pretty good drafting track where you get some good runs down the straightaways. So those aren't usually my best tracks, but we'll see how it goes. I know it's pretty multi-groove in the corners, and that's always fun.
Alrighty then. Who gets a thanks here for you being able to come on out every single Tuesday night and get the job done?
Just appreciate the league and all the guys putting it on. It's been a fun season.
Indeed it has been. That was your winner of the Bangarang Hard Seltzer 85 on the Chicago Street Course on the streets of Chicago. Jordan Kalinian driving the number 0 Toyota of Salisbury, North Carolina. His 8th win of the season, his 4th in the playoffs, and his 5th within the last 6 races. He has booked his ticket into the championship finale at Homestead Miami Speedway in 2 weeks. Jordan, once again, congratulations on putting on yet another clinic here in the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs. Best of luck at Auto Club, and if we don't talk to you after next week's race at Auto Club, friggin' best of luck.
Appreciate it, Regan.
And so there you have it. That was the post-race winner interview with the number 0 of Jordan Kalinian, and now we will get to the unofficial results of tonight's race. Yet again, the streak keeps going where we do not have a glitch with any of the numbers whatsoever. Obviously, Kalinian getting the win. Charlie Sears with again, not a clinic for the top spot, but he absolutely had a clinic in the podium positions, and we saw him drop back to as far as 6th, but still make his way up back to the 2nd position, and he was in quite the battle there with Jose Mercado for 2nd, and then the 41 had a catastrophic lockup, which gave him an extra point right there, which is going to be massive for him in the points going into Auto Club Speedway next week. C.D. Magrum finishing in 3rd, a valuable finish for him as well. Plus 9 above the cut line after stage 2, and definitely should be a little bit more than that coming out of tonight's event. Andy Hurdle, Ty Higginbottom rounding out the top 5. That's also going to be very valuable there for the number 7. Mike Marini finishing in 6th despite not having a front end. Jose Mercado was in the running for a runner-up or 3rd place finish, but of course that lockup drops him back to 7th, so we're going to have to see how that shapes out in the points. That will be updated here tonight. Tom Janikowski with yet again another solid performance, finishing inside the top 10 and taking advantage of other drivers' misfortunes. Kyle Knoll finishing in 9th. It looked as though 6th place finish, I believe, was on the horizon for him, and then he had he had 2 big hits, one that we definitely caught. And then Darcy Ford still with a top 10 finish despite not having a front end, and then he was able to eventually come back out 2 laps down with a front end. Jason Heaney finishing in 11th, Mark Ouellette 12th, Hunter Young 13th, just a bunch of cars right here finishing like double-digit laps down and plenty more. Justin Belmonte, the best of the rest challenge points leader, finishing in 14th. And then you have 3 cars that, or I guess it would be 4 cars since Belmonte had that blown engine, but 3 cars that definitely DNF'd out of this race. Jared Ireland in 15th at 21 laps down. Adam Wilson 16th, a victim of the turn 4 tire barrier. And then not even being able to complete a whole first lap, the 17 of Corbin McCauley. Absolutely catastrophic start and end to his night here on the streets of Chicago. He'll look to rebound at Auto Club next week. And so, Jordy, with all that being said, that was the Bangarang Hard Seltzer 85 at the Chicago Street Course. Overall thoughts?
I was going to say, first thought, don't bring us back into the studio. I don't think the internet connection is going to hold up for a camera.
I know.
But, yeah, that's, with everything happening, literally nobody is safe now. Like, again, with Corbin McCauley's first lap incident there, like, even he's not safe. He's plus 10 on my unofficial updated standings here going into Auto Club. And, yeah, like, realistically, 2 through 7, they're all fighting for it. Adam Wilson's looking at a must-win at this point, but yeah, there's a lot to play for still, and yeah, Charlie Sears doing what he needed to do tonight to get to +1 on the bubble over Andy Hurdle. Like I was saying, if Hurdle could have grabbed 3rd there from Mangrum at the end, those two would be level on the cut line right now, but you know what? Things are going to get spicy next week because, again, it's do or die at this point. There is no more, just give it your best shot. You got to perform. There is no more safety net.
And so I'm going to do the thing again where we do put up the unofficial points. Just got to change one setting, and then we're good. Close enough.
Yeah, let's just...
Here, I'll do this.
Here,
Give me a second. So I'm gonna kind of blue out all the guys that do not count in this. So all this right here is what you must keep an eye on. So yeah, there's Kalinian all the way up there. I mean, already has the win, obviously. C.D. Mangrum actually moving up into the 2nd position. Corbin McCauley dropping back to 3rd. Charlie Sears with an incredible +3. Andy Hurdle +1. Ty Higginbottom -2. Jose Mercado +1. Adam Wilson with a dismal -3.
Yeah, just as we said, caught up early, and just there was no way back for the 21. And yeah, you talk about Hurdle's +1. That +1 isn't good enough right now because, again, you see Sears having made the move, and you see just how tight it is on that cut line right now. And you know what? Things are going to get a lot more interesting here as, we approach Auto Club, as I've been saying.
So is that -19, I think, for Mercado? Is that the math?
So I think something might be a little bit, I don't know if that's 100% up to date there, I guess we could say, because like I have Mangrum 8 points less and Mercado 8 points more. We'll wait until it's official.
Indeed, but I think what is pretty much there are 2 things official at this point. 1, Kalinian's into the Championship 4, and 2, holy crap, the cut line is going to be next week is going to be absolutely freaking dramatic.
It's going to be fun.
Oh man, it's again, as I said in the pre-race show, the flashbacks to and obviously the Dart/IndyCar Series is total points counted over the calculated over the overall season. There's no playoffs or anything with that, but you take that race into account, that the finish that we had last year, and then now with a stock car race as the elimination race before the championship 4 with a cut line like that. Holy F.
Lol. Yeah, that's gonna be just wild.
Predictions?
That it would be foolish to predict.
That's fair. But yeah, again, it just looking at it overall, like Kalinian's already in, obviously. Magrum and McCauley have been the best drivers in behind him. Of course, McCauley with the second most wins on the year, but again, though, he's going to have to try and define some new momentum and confidence after what happened here tonight on the first lap on the streets of Chicago. CD Magrum, of course, finishing in third. He's still he's a decent deficit over the cut line himself, close to McCauley. And we've seen how consistent he was over the regular season, obviously outstanding on the oval tracks. But then Charlie Sears in fourth, where he is right there, being 1 point above Andy Hurdle for the fourth and final spot. He is going to need to have the oval performance of his life, because ovals especially have been incredibly against him all season.
Yeah, 1 point, like, you have zero room to play with there. And I mean, we've seen him kind of get into it a couple of times earlier in the playoffs. And you know what? This is where he's going to have to be clean. Like, there's literally no margin for error now.
Okay, so that explains the standings. It did seem a little off from you. I think some results were possibly put in inaccurately. So again, as you said, we're still going to wait until things are actually official. We will put out posts on our social media pages within the next day or so, and then you'll have an idea of where things are really at and how close things are really at, especially heading into next week's race, which at this point I should be actually calling it by how the race actually is. The Nordic Aluminum 200 on Tuesday, August 13th. Nordic Aluminum. How can you? Who do you think of when you hear Nordic Aluminum?
Oh, I mean, that would be, I believe a former Auto Club winner in the form of CD Mangrum, if I'm thinking of it right.
And in season 3, our final season on console, that was his first career win.
Yeah, that's not yesterday, and obviously he's, made his mark on the series ever since. And last year's regular season race was a nice little shootout between Justin Belmonte and Corbin McCauley, as I was kind of vamping for the playoff one, which, as we mentioned, was where Scott Bailey picked up his 1 win last season on the way to his title.
Indeed so. So it's like you got the Nordic Aluminum 200 right there, the main sponsor for the number 1 Tornado Alley E-Racing Toyota of CD Magrum from Atlanta, Georgia. How fitting would that be if, again, first career win came at Auto Club back in season 3, 2 years ago? How incredible would it be for the race that his sponsor is the title sponsor of? He goes out and wins and builds that momentum heading into the Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue Miami Championship 200 on August 20th. And again, too, as you just said, Jordy, last year Scott Bailey won at Auto Club in that elimination race before Homestead Miami, and then went on to win the championship the next week. So could we see something similar happen here in Season 5? How absolutely fitting would it be? What a story it would be for CD Magrum. Again, consistent throughout the whole regular season, and then the first 4 races in the playoffs were just absolute killers for the momentum that he brought into the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs. And now with the 3rd place finish here tonight on the Chicago Street Course, maybe there's the potential for an outstanding turnaround at possibly like the most perfect time imaginable.
I mean, honestly, we're at the point where, like, anyone in this top 8 can win. Like,
Exactly.
that's where we are right now. It's just a matter of executing when it matters. Like, we talk about Auto Club having opportunities to get the job done, so to speak, but it's a little different when you know what's at stake here, and this is effectively your final shot at it.
And again, too, like, can Charlie Sears finally break the streak of some bad luck on the ovals? Can Andy Hurdle get a second career oval win after winning back at Charlotte? Ty Higginbottom with two wins on the season. Could he possibly get the job done? Higginbottom with wins at Daytona, North Wilkesboro. Can he try to get a win on an intermediate track? Jose Mercado, we've seen the momentum that he's had throughout the past couple of weeks. Of course, he could very well get the job done. Adam Wilson currently in the 8th position. He won back at Dover back in April. He's also a guy that could very well, on any given week, he could be contending for the win very much. And man, oh man, what a story would it be if he was able to go from 8th to possibly winning his way into the championship 4. Man, oh man. And I keep saying, this is the most competitive playoff round that we've ever seen in series history. This is the round where literally anyone could win on any given week. And we could even argue that for the championship race as well when we get down to 4 drivers in a sudden death race on August 20th. Any of those 4 drivers could win.
Yeah, and I mean, you were talking about Adam Wilson. Like, it is must win for him. Like, unofficially 24 points back as it stands right now. He's got a long way to go, and not to borrow from eastbound and down, but a long way to go and a short time to get there. So just a couple 100 miles to dictate the fate of really drivers 2 through 8 here, because as you say, anything can happen, anyone can win. Like, just a matter of who's going to perform when it matters the most.
Absolutely. Only one more race to decide who the 4 drivers will be that will go for glory on August 20th at Homestead Miami Speedway. Of course, before we get there, the race next week, Tuesday, August 13th at Auto Club Speedway, the round of 8 elimination race. The Nordic Aluminum 200 will decide the next 3 drivers that will be moving on and will have a shot at the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup. Tonight's race was the Bangarang Hard Seltzer 85 on the Chicago Street Course here on Tuesday, August 6th, with the number 0 of Salisbury, North Carolina's Jordan Kalinian putting on a clinic and getting the win and punching his ticket to the Championship 4. So we hope you all enjoyed tonight's live production of Canadian eMotorsports Network, powered by Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue Action on iRacing. On behalf of Jordy Carrer, who's been here since the very beginning on the other side of the country in Alberta, Canada, the Canadian eMotorsports Network Competition Committee, all other drivers, sponsors, partners, other staff involved within the network, my name is Regan McCauley from Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island. We will see you all next Tuesday for the round of 8 elimination race. Mark it on your calendars, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 8:30 p.m. Atlantic. We will have live coverage here on our YouTube channel for the Cars and Stars of the NASCAR Series, ready to do battle for the second to last, the penultimate race of Season 5. So thank you all very much for tuning into tonight's live production. We hope you all enjoyed the action that was on the streets of Chicago for the first time in series history. Thank you all. Have a fun night. Speed safely, and we'll see you all next Tuesday night to decide the Championship 4 for the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs.